So I thought I'd open up by presenting what took me the longest time to wrap my mind around, which is that there's really two parts of a song. So, first of all, to understand the writer, like a songwriter versus an artist, you got an artist like Britney Spears, who's amazing. Everyone knows her. She's in Pepsi. She's famous. Doesn't write her own songs. There are other people who write her songs, and for example, songwriter, she wrote on the song called "Toxic." I know I'm kind of dating myself a few years, but it's probably Britney's biggest song. And unless you're in the songwriters community, you won't actually know who she is. But she wrote Britney Spears' song, and so she's entitled to the writer's royalties that come in. So if you could wrap your head around that concept, being that there's a songwriter and then there's an artist that performs it, and sometimes they're the same person. R. Kelly writes his own songs. He's not only the writer, he's the artist. But from a legal point of view, there are two people in that position. There's R. Kelly the writer, who's Robert Kelly or whatever, and then there's R. Kelly the artist, and they're seen as two different entities. Now when you go to an actual song, somebody throw out a song name that they've been listening to this week.
Drake.
Drake,
Started from the bottom.
Started from the bottom. Heavy, heavy.
Why is everyone thinking of this song?
Because he's on the Billboard. So you got Drizzy, you got Drake, and there were probably 2 or 3 writers on that song. There was definitely him as a songwriter, so he was the lyricist. There was the guy who made the beat, which is also a songwriter, so they had a share in the song. It was probably Noah or something like that. And maybe there was another guy who helped him write the chorus, and so there's a 3rd songwriter on it. We'll actually look up that song later, but you've got the songwriter. So you've got the songwriters doing one half of it. So that would be all this. You've got one song starting from the top, now right here, and we'd have Drake and the 2 other writers. That's 50% of the song. Now comes in this thing that we've never heard about called the publisher share, and that's the other half of the song. So basically, when we're going to go find royalties, or we're going to go find anybody who owes us money for putting that song out, and basically it is a copyright, so anybody who puts it on a CD, who puts it on a compilation, anytime it gets played on Much Music, anytime it gets played on a radio station, the revenue stream comes through as publishing, but it's basically split into 2 halves. And so you have all the writers that are going to get their share, and then you got this mystical thing called the music publisher that is going to come in and collect that other half. Now you guys who don't have publishers, you are your own publisher. So anytime you write a song, you're creating a copyright that has a publisher share and a writer share. Now this, I'm just talking here, I've been talking for 2 minutes. This took me about a year to wrap my head around, because it's like, I've never heard of a music publisher, or maybe just heard about it, and now you're telling me that I have to look at a song, and I have to look at every single song as having 2 parts, a songwriter share and a publisher share. And in many situations, if you don't have a publisher, or you're not acting as your own publisher, that publisher share gets lost. They never pay it, because they have to pay it legally to a music publisher. So if you haven't set up a publishing company, if you haven't set up a publishing company or signed to a publisher, then that share gets lost. And that's where it gets really technical and sort of really paperworky, but this is sort of 70% of the industry right now in the way of income dollars is in publishing money. Like everyone talks about touring and they talk about album sales, but music publishing, like your collection of your copyright, is 70% of the industry. And because it's not glamorous, because it's not associated with touring and associated with selling out a stadium, because it's just paperwork, nobody wants to pay attention to it.